Welcome back, everybody. I'm DruStew. This is the replay where we are going to be recapping round number 7. I've got Miles Baker, Coleman Proctor. Coleman, good run last night, Cowboy.
Hey, thank you, boy. We needed that. And now that my daughter has told me the secret to being successful.
What is the secret?
She said, Daddy, all we got to do now is be 3-5 every time.
Fair
enough. Okay.
That's it?
Boy, she's been mad. I placed in the first round, and she said she was so disappointed in me, Drew. Because when we win the round, we take a big limo bus, and she gets to dance and go crazy. We have fun. We go to the back number or to the buckle ceremony, and she hadn't got to do that yet, and she was not understanding that, baby, these are the best 15 guys in the world.
And they've been
third ain't bad. You know what
it's
I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, last night she said, Dad, that's all we got to do. Let's just be 3-5 the rest of the time. That's the key to winning. And I said, oh, okay.
Okay. Thanks, honey.
Well, now that you've laid that out, I guess I can follow along.
Yeah. Now that you got to figure out, you got it. Oh, man. Hey, Miles, we've been talking about, buddy, this is some good team roping this year.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so fast now. And we were talking about it. I said, I don't think you can blame the cattle or nothing for it being this fast. I think roping's just got that good.
Yeah, it's guys are just sharp. There's no wasted motions anymore. And everybody has their own knack and their own way of doing it. And a lot of these guys have perfected that. And you see a lot of different styles coming together out here. A lot of different, the way that the team chemistries are. And it's been incredible to watch. But I will say, I thought Bobby Joe's done a great job setting us a even set of steers this week. For the most part, about every steer in each round you can win on. No matter their track record. Every steer has been a great opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. No, the cattle look good, and they're even, and they've got them sorted good. And I got to sit behind the hill box last night, and it's fun seeing, like you was talking about chemistry, seeing these guys get down the arena, where it looks like they're in no man's land for a minute, and then the run just comes together, and y'all have been a great example of that. And it's been cool. It's cool for watching you here for me, because it looks like you have a knack, and maybe it's all them Northeastern Oklahoma amateurs from back in the day, but I was sitting next to Treston last night, and I said he has so much timing with his first swing, like knowing the situation. If you need to get 2 off fast, you can. And then I've seen you just come with it slow and have it open, and it just looks like you've got an awesome feel for that. And I know a lot of it's credit to your horse, but
I know when I bring that slow one, I can just hear Speedy. Coleman, you've got to swing faster than that. I can already hear him. But, yeah, no, the other night I kind of missed the barrier. It is a lot of timing. Yep. Because there in the beginning I felt like I was slow, years back. And the first couple of years I came here, I caught a lot of steers, but we didn't win a lot in go-rounds, and I wanted to be faster. And so I really got to working on trying to start my swing, but I get to swinging it too early. And then you're kind of in the middle of the box when you're, actually at the front of your second swing where you need to be coming around to throw it. And I'm still in the box. I couldn't, so it messed my timing up. I have to go one more to get out in front of the box. And because I'm not like some of those guys, man, I'm not talented enough to throw my rope while I'm still in the box. I've got to be out in front of it a little bit. And but man, Heisman is really easy to time up. He's short-strided. He breaks there. He leaves flat. And I know he can be aggravating in the box at times, but I think
you keep letting him do his thing.
He just knows me. Last night I knew my steer was going to be good. He was going to go off to the right just a touch. Going to let us set up to be fast, which thankfully because we needed to be. And I'm on go, baby. I'm ready to roll. I want to hit the corner and nod my head. I do not like hanging out in the box very much. And it was like Heisman felt that, and he just curled around the first time. Like, we're not going yet, Coleman. You're going to have to chill out. And then I ride him forward. I'm like, all right, baby, I got you. Come on, let's get after him. I hit the corner, and then I felt his tail just drop. He just does, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You are not sitting down. I've got to have you on go. And then finally, like when I took a breath and relaxed, and he's like, all right, you're ready. I mean, I swear it's a lot of back and forth with my horse like that, because I swear you could get on him. Bobby Lewis trained that horse. He's a gentleman in the box. He's a great animal. It's just our chemistry together. You see a lot of that come out.
Yeah, I know you said you rode him here in 15. It was the 3rd rodeo he's ever been to at that point, and then been on him since 17. And so it's cool seeing a horse make that run in this arena over and over again, and not try to be so far ahead of you that he starts screwing you. He's stayed good.
I think one thing that's helped him a lot too is that horse moves the horn well. And I think there's certain knacks that horses have that you can't really put your finger on, but that one, I always was so concerned about like where the horse's head was, where his butt was, how everything moved. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me to be controlling it is the whole saddle horn.
Yeah.
Because I've got to take control of this steer as soon as my rope goes on him, and it needs to be happening right now. It needs to be coming together. When it hits his horns, the next stride stuff needs to be coming together. Every time that steer takes a hop, that's 0.3 of a second. And when you're trying to cut these rounds out, when a half a second doesn't win near as much, you have to be cutting those tenths out. I talk about all the time, I want to cut the fat out of the run. You know what I mean? I like to drink milkshakes, but I cut the fat out of the runs I make. And anytime I can take wasted motion away and be more efficient, that's ultimately what's going to let us win the most. So for me, it's always been about how he controls the horn. I know he gets his front end down a little too low sometimes for some people's liking, but what he does is he moves the horn the minute I need it moved, opens the steer up, and then he comes around and allows me to finish strong.
Yeah, and the downfall to the getting his shoulders down, you're talking about horses not being able to finish out of that position, but I can't say that I've ever seen that horse where it was like, man, he just couldn't get the run finished. Like he's talking about his stride being short. He can help you get out of that if that does happen. So obviously an amazing horse.
Yeah, he does a good job facing even when I run him into the fence. Yeah. You saw that a couple nights ago. I'd roped, and when I pulled my slack, I dropped a coil from between my hands. So I had a lot of slack floating out there, and I thought, man, I kind of took my precedence of all of a sudden we've got to make this corner readable. When you throw a wrench in the system like that, you want to make sure your partner is going to see it coming. So I tried to take care of the turn first, make sure I led the steer. Then I lost track of where I was at. I ran straight into the fence. And that arena looks yellow, Miles, from up top. But when you're into the wall, there's just yellow all around you. Like I thought I was wrestling Big Bird for a minute. I'm just like, hey, what? I'm like, Bubba, I'm pulling and I'm just kicking and poor Heisman, and he just spins on a dime and gets out of it. That horse wants to win just as bad as I do. I think that's a grittiness and a knack for wanting to win is something that you can't train a horse to do.
100%.
Man, you were talking. You talked about trimming the fat out, and when we first sat down here, you talked about how everybody is doing it now. We've been sitting up here every single day looking at these runs, and it's when 4 flats not getting a piece of it or getting $2,500.
It was $2,700, and I was very grateful.
Very, very, very thankful to get it right. But Coleman, that's what everybody. The talent level right now on the horsepower, the guys. I'm with Miles. You stick. Change the cattle, it doesn't matter. I think you guys, it's at a level now it's never been at. I mean, as it should be. Every year we should be working on our game, but it is awesome this year. And how fast you guys are doing it consistently. In the top 15 of the world, trimming those little things out. There is no room for error at the top, and it's great watching, man. As a fan of team roping, it is fun to watch.
And I thought the one that really changed it for me and how I approached it out here was Turtle Pal. Because you always had gunslinger-type guys going fast, JoJo Lamont. Of course, I'm a big Speedy fan. But when he came out here the last few years, nobody was better at the Thomas and Mack than Turtle Pal. And that guy did it in a way that I looked at it and said, man, I can do that. JoJo having that thing cranked over his shoulder and halfway looking at his partner. I mean, there's a lot of talent in JoJo that I just don't have. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of handiness that I don't have. But with the way that Turtle was with his horse, and he made those steers square off and be legal fast. And he did it efficiently. And it was like, man, I can do that. You know what I mean? And so that's why I think what's great is you got these kids coming up, and they're able to watch Dustin Agaskiza, J.C. Yaquo, those guys that are able to just gunsling it right out of the corner. And then you've got, the kids that are going to take that style, and they're going to keep emulating that. And then there's, guys like me that got to go a little closer, be a little faster, but we're just, trying to be as efficient as we can. And I think the NFR really sets a good even playing field for all different styles can be successful here. It's just go ahead, figure out how you're the most comfortable, and then perfect your craft.
Sure. I mean, look at last year when Clint and Jake had a great kickoff last year, and just that old style, the Turtle Powell style, like blowing up there and just sticking, and everything is tight, and you're winning rounds. Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to put it. So there's definitely a place for both styles, but very unique, but also finishing right there. When we're finishing everything at an average of 3.7 in the rounds every single night, man, besides incredible. One that was a little, but I mean, that's amazing. Both styles doing it. It's cool stuff.
It's incredible to watch. It's not the funnest to try to beat all the time, but it is incredible to get to watch. And it's fun to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And those guys are great guys. Every top 15, every one of them could win here today.
Yep.
And honestly, now with the way the field's set in rodeo, you could say the same thing about the top 20 guys in the world, the top 30 guys in the world. Yeah. I mean, the talent level's deep. Rodeo's in a great place, and I'm glad to see it.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the slate from last night. This is go round number 7. You guys are on top with a 3.5, winning $33,687. Clinton Jake getting on the board with that 3.6, 26,000. Clay and Colby, 3.7. We're going to talk about them here in a second. They're number one in the average, and they come out and they're 3.7. 3.8 by Dustin and Levi. JC and Buds with a 4.1, and Brent Hall. Caden in there again. I'm proud of that kid, man. I talk about it every day. I'm proud of old Caden and his healing 4.3. And let's go ahead and we're going to run in. We're going to go from bottom to top. Here's Dustin and Levi. What are you seeing here, Coleman?
Man, Dustin did a great job of leading that steer up the pin. You know, Levi, it feels like he was a little behind, but boy, Dustin did an outstanding job of just leading it, allowing Levi to be on the tracks, getting to the feet. And Levi shuts it down. Once he gets there, he shuts it down. And, of course, Dustin, this bay, I don't really know this bay that well, but, man, he has finished every night. As soon as he goes to start getting tight, that horse is whipping around. Mm-hmm. And the main thing out here, I think, is, A, you got to keep the rope tight when you finish. You know, you can't let a lot of drop happen. As soon as they see drop, they're going to start holding the flag, and their hips have got to pop. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Their heads popping around, all this and that. As soon as those hips clear and make it, you know, it makes it seem like, okay, the run is done. And that's what the flaggers, it feels like the more favorable flags have been coming from a tight rope and those hips really popping around.
Helps those flaggers really see it. I mean, we guys talk about that all the time, man. I love what you were talking right here. Boy, that's a soft corner he put on that steer to be 3.8 and have it that soft. Yeah, he just let him off like the old Helimatic right around the corner right there. You know what I mean? I mean, from the couch, I'm sitting over here saying, I could have got that one. I could have done that one. I'd have done him up. I'd have got that one. Yeah. All right, we'll watch this one more time. We'll go to Clay Smith and Colby Payne. They were 3.7 last night.
You know, Clay kind of got a better start last night. It kind of didn't look like right there on that, but I was sitting right next to him as he took off, and he hasn't got his timing yet leaving the corner with this horse. This horse is incredible. But, man, that was the first time he was kind of at the barrier rope, at the front of his saddle, ready to rope, and that steer pushed off to the right. And when I tell you, Payne Train went down on that one, boy. That is bagging right there. That's double bagging, as Andrew Ward would call it. That's when you go to the grocery store and you say, you know what, that milk's a little too heavy. Let's double bag it, baby.
Double bag it.
3.7, leading the average 3.7. And that's a tight corner. Colby did a great job. That's a lot of patience right there. You know, it'd be easy to get too tight and not be able to see that first top. And I absolutely love Colby Payne's heel horse. That's an incredible heel horse. I've always liked him. I got a chance to ride him one time behind Tyler Wade at a jackpot. Man, that's an incredible horse. And right here's a lot of it. I mean, that horse just gives him a lot of patience. And I want all heelers to know, you can ride tight to the steer, but you have to have patience. Yeah. You know, when somebody tells you that when they get on their heel horse, they're like, hey, you got to give this one a little more width. What that means is this horse is not very patient, and you got to allow for that. And I thought this was an incredible rodeo run. This is the run that when we come to the National Finals, this is what we're trying to do for 10 nights in a row. And they make it look like they could do it 100 times in a row right there.
Yeah, I never got close to that left wall either. I was able to do it in the middle of the arena.
And you see there whenever Clay finishes, you know, it wasn't the big pop around and a lot of you know, pizzazz to his finish right here, but the rope's tight, and as soon as those hips jump, that flag pops.
Yep.
You know,
helping the flagger right there.
And you've got to, I think you got to know the key to what the guy's looking for. You know what I'm saying? There's getting to be a lot of debate on if the guy's holding the flag, what the clock looks like whenever you can freeze frame it on social media, and they should have been 2-7. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to know what they're looking for. You know, and I came out here years ago when Harry was flagging, and I felt like I was getting bad flags. And I just asked Harry, I said, Harry, what are you seeing that I'm not doing? Like, what is it? Because honestly, these guys don't want to cost anybody. They're not trying to favorably help a team. But there's something appealing to their eye, and it's been this week. It's kind of been, if you can keep it tight and keep those hips popping, you're going to get good flags.
Absolutely. All right, let's go down. We're going to go to Clint Summers and Jake Long right now. These guys are 3.6.
Yeah, this was a steer I know that Clint was very excited about. You know, I'm the team next behind him, so I hadn't really got to watch this run a whole lot until I got home and pulled it up on my computer. This is a typical Clint Summers, Jake Long run. Transmission's incredible. He might be the greatest horse out here, especially for a big horse. Miles, I think you'll agree, that horse moves short. Yeah, he's a big horse that moves like a little horse. And, you know, you watch Jake Long, been one of the greatest heelers at the NFR for ever since he's been coming. Nobody puts their bottom straight on the ground any better than Jake Long. He's always had a knack for it, something I've had to work on my whole life when we've been roping together and around each other, and he's just so good at it. And that allows him to take shots just like this when the steer pops away. I mean, the first thing that hits is that top strand hitting the hocks. That bottom strand's already on the ground. There's nowhere for this steer to go. And then, of course, transmission finishes so strong. And what I loved about this run, Clint Summers takes 3 swings. If you watch, 1, 2, 3,
I was going to ask you about that.
Like he's got I told Jake Long when they were going to first start roping, I said, man, I think Clint Summers has got some of the fastest hands, and he has such a tight head loop that things come together fast. I said, I think you guys will flourish together, especially in this yellow arena.
Yeah, that horse doesn't waste any motion like you was talking about. He puts it on the horns tight, sets the cow up, no wasted motion facing. He's good off the corner.
And I will say, like Jake, you know, he kind of mentioned earlier he didn't think his horse was letting him get down the arena and around the cow enough. But you watch, like here, he does narrow up just a fuzz, but watch how he keeps pursuing the steer to the end of the switch.
Yep.
I think that's a big thing. Even if you get trapped a little to the inside, Jake's got just enough veteran in him, and he's got a lot of Jake is going to heel the steer on the first hop. Like he's got a lot of aggression to him. And so he keeps, even though he's on the inside tracks, he keeps gravitating to the outside just to help get himself lined up where he can pull that first shot off on the first hop. And a strong finish on his end. People don't realize, man, you watch when Jake Long pulls this steer back to him. Dally, pull, get me some finish, straighten stuff up. I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot on these healers. I'm not saying pull on your horse a bunch, healers. I'm saying pull on that saddle horn, get things rocking back. Let's stop the clock.
I love it. You guys know I'm a Jake Long Heelan fan. I've loved watching Jake rope forever. And we talked about it down there at the steer break-in. Just him and I were just kind of chatting. And the aggression that he ropes with that you were just talking about is something that I really look up to how he heals. And that's what he said exactly what you just said. He said, my biggest thing there on these steers is I have got to get down the pin. I have got to get down the pin. Again, if he gets down there, he's going to get him on that first jump every single time.
Well, and I think, too, trying to stay parallel, running in his lane. You know, those are big things.
Yep.
And I'm a huge Jake Long fan. I think everybody knows I started out heeling, and Jake Long heels good enough it sent me to heading. You know what I mean? So he can just do stuff that a lot of guys can't, and it's so fun to watch him, especially places like here that really play to his wheelhouse.
Oh, man, absolutely. All right, let's go to your guys' run right here.
You know, this steer, Brenton Hall, he'd kind of got a good start and flushed him off to the right. And so I was kind of playing for that. I was kind of going more towards the flag. And, man, he ended up being right in the middle. I think my guy was able to get gone off the corner, and it kind of held him up in the middle lane just a little bit. But it was still just enough in the middle. You see Heisman taking that first move out of the turn. I think this is the most important pattern that I learned to run. My dear friend Billy Jack Sabins helped me out with this. Pop, and then you start working towards that corner. And he can almost just stand in place and just take the saddle horn right around his tail and rock it back. And then notice as soon as my guy starts to throw, I've been working on getting my right leg back. That's an upper level move. You're looking at a lot of years of ballet right there when I was in 6th grade that allows me to get my foot back that far. But and then, of course, I'm going to get a high five right there from my boy Shane O'Hara after I do good.
How much is Shane paying to sit right there to give you a high five?
No, I don't know how much he's had to give, as he's had to gamble to get those seats.
Or you should be paying him to be the hype
man. No, man, it was good. Shane O'Hara there, he's always taking good care of us, and he's always my number one fan, sitting in the stands right there.
That's awesome.
Last night I got to high five him on a 4 flat, and it turned out that wasn't only worth $2,700, but, man, it felt good. You know, our team needed a little bump. We needed some enthusiasm.
Absolutely.
And, it felt like that's what kind of got things going. What did you see, Miles? I want to know your breakdown of how everything went.
I was excited. I love his other horse that he heels on, but I've always loved this one too. And so it seems like his hill horses are always down around the cow so good. And so I knew whatever he was riding, y'all were going to be fast. But I love watching you on that horse because he'll throw his little head shakes in every once in a while, let you know that he's got a little attitude and he's still on top. I don't know. It's just good. Like I said earlier, timing off the corner and getting it on the horns tight, controlling the cow. I knew I was sitting right behind the box, and when you threw, I said round win. I just knew it was going to happen fast. And Logan gets down the pin so far. I think the last one he heeled on his younger horse the other day, he might have felt like he got too far down the pin, but that's normally where he makes up so much time. You know, if we was talking about Levi Lord a minute ago, he wasn't able to get down the pin far enough, you know, and that changed their run from a 3.4 to a 3.8, you know, and that run right there is 3.5 because of the angles of the run. And so that was amazing. You know,
Speedy'd be on me about riding those bridle reins across there, but the National Finals is the only place we have to leave before the steer leaves.
Yep.
You know, so I've got to take off and be in the bridle, and I'm holding, I'm floating, and I'm feeling it out. You know what I mean? On our way down there, that's just a little bit of that Northeast Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right.
Roped calves, you know, some of my life. But one thing that Drago does on the hillside that a lot of them don't is, man, that sucker curls and gets out of the way.
Yeah.
And that's what Logan was big about last night. He said, I could see it coming. He said 3 jumps before it happens. I can see it, and I know where it's going. And I think Drago's a lot like Heisman. They just have a knack for trying to help you win.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you deal with their shortcomings at other places is because when the chips are down, those horses are all in for us.
Yeah.
And you find animals like that. It's just you realize how blessed you are to be able to come out here. I know what I'm riding no matter what. My man Logan's got several great horses. Great options and. Last night they really shined out.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the race that everybody's kind of talking about right now. Let's go into the average and take a look at this. So Clay Smith and Colby Payne, 52.50. They're the only guys that have got all 7 of them down and then come with it last night. I mean, that's what I'm loving about Clay. We talked about it. You talked about his timing. It's coming back. It's getting better and better. It's going to be wicked as we get down here these last few rounds. Eric and Paul are in there with a 30-30 on 6. JC and Buddy, Clinton, Jake, Cody, and Hunter. And I think I looked down through it. I think there's 6 or 7 guys that have 6 of them down.
I think 8.
Is it that many?
Because I think I'm setting maybe
that's
about
right.
9. Not that I've been looking too close, but
Yep.
Being a steer up this time, I think Trevor talked about it big. That's a huge advantage. It gives you opportunities to kind of try the barrier out. Then you ought to be halfway next to him where you're taking 100% shots. If it works out like it did last night for him, you're going to be able to be clipping them in the go rounds. You don't ever expect any of these guys to miss.
Yep.
But I do know weird things happen here in the last few rounds, so it'll be exciting to see how the average shakes up. And it most certainly puts things in a lot better perspective for my partner and I where, you're not trying to protect an average lead. You're not trying to protect an average position. It's all about pin your ears back, go forward, and to see if it comes back our direction.
Yep.
With one team having all of them down and as good as the steers are and as good as the field is, I was honestly a little surprised of that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They're long enough on all their steers, though. I'm curious to see what the game plan is because if they drop a steer, they're going to drop a long way in the average because some of them guys are, they're a 52 or whatever on 7, and then it falls to a 30 or so. So if they go down a steer, they're going to go down a ways behind some of them teams.
They go off that list we were just looking
at.
They go off the list, yeah,
because of their time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So throw that back up there real quick if you would, guys. Let's look at that. Exactly what Miles is talking about. You're exactly right.
So if they're down a steer, and Eric and Paul are winning it with a 30 on 6, and you got them at a 52 on 6, they're off that page. So
well, and it is to remember. I mean, they pay 8 monies right
Yeah.
in the average, which is different for us. Usually, it's the same as a go round. So with 8 places in the average, 5th is going to be half of first. First is what 80 something, 82,000,
86, I think.
86,000.
Yep.
So you're looking at 5th place right there being 43. That's over a go round win. So those are big strides when you're talking about getting your name etched in there. Anything above 5th is way more than you can win in a round, and then pretty soon they're about 3rd is more than you can win for 2 rounds. So that's just giving you the importance of where this is going to play out when it comes round 10 for a world title. And as much of a lead as Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe have roped themselves to, they still in the back of their mind have to be thinking down 3. What are the possibilities? How much are we going to have to win to pad our lead and get it where we can get up there far enough that, these guys are going to have to win. It's going to require a Clinton Jake moving all the way to 2nd or a 1st in order to catch up to them.
Yep. So the top 3 teams in the average right here, I think these guys pulled up their runs. We saw Clay's run already. We've watched this one. Oh, this is this is
well, I'm going to tell you.
JC right here, JC and Buds.
I'll be the first one to tell everybody in the world I was wrong. Because I told JC Yako, he was asking me some advice. I sent him a lot of my videos, and I said, man, I'll tell you this. You can't be 3 reaching the Thomas and Mack. Because if you're reaching the Thomas and Mack, you haven't scored quite like you needed to, and you're going to end up being 4. But then they went 3-6 on the one that I missed. So, what do I know? I'm old, But so then I corrected myself and told him, I said, well, I can't be 3 reaching the Thomas and Mack. Man, that kid's got a knack, man. He's great. You're looking at a lot of young talent paired up with a lot of veteran wisdom right there. And
Boy, that's a long line right there.
It's good to see his horse finishing in that corner, going ahead and getting all the way around. I know it cost him a little bit there in the beginning, but you see Chapo really tip his nose in and get those hips rolling. Buds is getting to the end of it and setting the anchor down.
Well, that works right there, Coleman, with that steer stepping off to the right, too.
Right.
That steer steps to the left, and that doesn't turn
that
out
keeps
like
him
that
out
at
of the
all,
wall.
does it?
Right, and I mean he needs to be a little closer to the barrier. Honestly, I mean it's hard to knock a 4-1. And let's face it, when we're talking these runs, we're not saying anybody made a bad run.
Yep.
We're just explaining the difference between 3-5 and 4-1.
Sure.
And it could be a lot with that stride and a half that he was behind the barrier rope, because I know when you miss the barrier by 6 inches, it changes the dimensions of that arena significantly.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't look for them to be worried about their third place in the average either. I feel like they're going for round wins. He's heading them for round wins no matter what. What I love about Buddy, somebody told me one time, what Buddy does so good is he knows that if he don't catch 2 feet, he don't win. So one way or another, Buddy's catching 2 feet.
I love that. And here's a prime example. People talk about timing all the time. If the front feet aren't touching the back feet, you can heel him.
Yep.
Because he's out of time, puts his bottom strand on the ground at the steer's feet. So the first movement, this steer's in it, and that's big time heeling. That's when you have to be able to pull that shot off. You have to bed this one down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think JC's in a pretty good rhythm right there.
Yeah.
He's starting to look a lot like Jake Long used to look whenever he would rope the fast lane. He's tapped off. And you're not going to want to come bringing your dollar bill bet to him, because he's going to make it rain. So. Yeah. I don't know. I look for them to keep catching, because it looks like JC's gotten comfortable.
Getting her figured out. All right, we're going to go to Eric and Paul right now. So JC and Buds are 30-90 on 6. Then Eric and Paul, they're the team that's 30-30 on 6.
Yeah, Eric got a neck right there, but Paul does such a good job setting up the turn. His horses are good. He's always around the turn. I was texting Jade last night during the team roping, and we were talking about how good Paul rides the turn, and that neck just made that steer hit fast and stuff. I think we got this video because they're winning second in the average, and that doesn't surprise me one bit with them in the average.
Yep.
Well, really, this is one of my favorite steers right here. I picked him in round 1. I said, that's the one I'm going to win a gold buckle on in the 10th round. So I've still got that called. I hope it comes back my direction and we get that opportunity. But honestly, the only reason Paul loses a leg right here, he did everything he could to set it up. He had good finish, helping his delivery. But, I'm not picking on Rogers at all, because I think he's one of the greatest headers in the world. And I think he'd be the first to tell you that right here, he didn't do a great job finishing. You notice how when he goes to turn, he turns the horn back to the steer. Mm-hmm. And any time, and I think this is the most important thing to understand about heading, the angle that I show my partner leaving the corner, I have to maintain that. You'll notice that as this steer comes out of the corner, right here's the angle he's set. That's what Paul's reading. But when Paul goes to dally and get his slack, the angles change, the hips come inside, and you're going to lose a leg. I'm going to say 99% of the time.
Yep.
If those hips swing to the inside, and I always take all my old handling tricks back to roping the fast lane as a kid so much, if you want to make somebody miss, you swing those hips to the inside. As they're throwing. Mm-hmm. And anytime you make these angle changes as a header, you're going to cost your partner. The other night when I ran straight into the fence, what my focus was maintaining that line as my partner healed him. I knew I'd put myself in a vulnerable position, but I tried to make sure that I didn't cost us by losing a leg or even a no time by slipping 2 feet.
Yep.
So I think as every header watches this run, you have to understand that their job's to catch them, our job's to keep them in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm betting setting second in average, they're glad they had that leg right now.
They were tickled to have that leg. That's one of those that you're like, dang it. And then you get out back and you're like, whoo, I thought I was losing it all for a minute. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got to look mad. I got to look mad for the camera, but I'm not going to lie to you. Daddy was happy.
Yeah.
I've been there.
We had to throw back to, I don't know, it's been maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but I made the short round at Dodge City, and you probably don't even remember this, but I cost my guy roping a leg in the short round. I was riding by you had your computer pulled up, and you were watching. I was riding to the trailer, and you said, hey, can I tell you something? You didn't even know me at this point.
Well, we played basketball.
At Guyman. Yeah, we did ball out. That's true. But he stopped me and said, can I show you something? And he pulled his screen up, and he said, do you know why your healer lost a leg? And I said, I honestly don't, And he showed me that, and that's something I started studying it back then, and now I'm big on that.
And now I got you to where you're at now, Miles. You're welcome. Maybe make a little room in there for one of my outside horses. What do you say, huh?
Maybe,
right here?
Maybe so.
On the replay, we got a lot of witnesses, huh? Yeah. If I can get a little Miles, let's just, trade the training out. Miles, I like that.
Right.
No, that's incredible. You know what I love about Miles, too? He's always been thirsty for knowledge. Mm-hmm. Because I think as team ropers, we're designed to be a little bit excuse-ridden, Mm-hmm. And we never wants to be our fault. We don't like accepting responsibility. And I think anytime you're a header, you're not that you're the leader of your team, but you are the quarterback. And it's your job to understand that, like, hey, man, you did a great job. I cost you. That is on me 1,000%. And that's ultimately what kind of helps your team confidence continue to grow. Because, especially out here at the World Series Finals, you'll hear a lot of guys like, oh, my partner's having healer troubles, Well, then what can I do to make it better? You know what I'm saying? Am I doing everything I can do to be the best version of Coleman Proctor today where my partner has a chance to be successful?
Yeah, I always say, Hedden, you're expected to score and put it on the horns. The job starts after that.
One of my things I say every night, because I'm busy, I'm bouncing, right? And so I've always got to have those thoughts that play in my mind. I think this is important to know. When you get nervous, you can't think the whole run through. We're competing in a reactionary event, and I've got to have a swing thought. Like in golf, I can't think of everything in my golf swing, right? Have to have a swing thought. And so my box thoughts every night as I walk back to my horse, Tiffany reminds me, she says, hey, see the target, we rope it, lead it, finish it. In other words, when I nod my head, I'm staring at the target. When I take my first swing, I'm staring at the target. When I rope that steer, I'm staring at the target. As I lead his head through the turn, I'm staring at my target. And as I finish my run and face, I'm staring at the target. And that's what brings me to center. And I think it's important that as a competitor, we all find our swing thoughts.
Yeah, 100%. So the team winning the average would go to Clay Smith and Colby Payne here. But seeing them go 3-7 last night with the scenario they're in was pretty cool. This mare come off our place just a month or so ago, and Treston was riding her, jackpotting on her. She can absolutely fly. This is probably a little bit of a smaller setup than she's used to. Normally it's jackpotting and stuff, and I said it early in the week she was a tick free, but I figured it once she figures out the game plan right here. I had a feeling they were going to be good in the average because I don't think that mare's going to take anything away from Clay. She looks real honest, and early in the week I was seeing we always scored her over the bridle just a tick, and it made her reactions a little bit slow coming off the corner because she would have to look up and then go. And it looks like he started letting her score with her head up, and she sees it happening faster. And so I'm excited that they've got all these caught. I got some babies coming out of this mare, so I would like to see him win the average on her. But
that was a great plug, Miles. Where can we buy one of those at? You know what I mean? Like, let's go ahead and put that B on their cheek, and let's maybe send one to Eastern Oklahoma if you want. I mean, DruStew and I can spend a little time on that ourselves.
Yeah, Tyler Waters rodeoed on that mare.
That's what he said. So this mare's actually been to some rodeos.
Tyler Waters rodeoed on this mare, and then Tibba Smith was jackpotting on her, and I think placed on her in the breakaway at Cheyenne, and Treston bought her, and then Trevor and myself and Treston and I used her, and then Clay Smith's sister-in-law Miley bought her, and I give Miley a hard time. I said, I thought that was your horse. I didn't expect to see Clay riding it. But
what about a little bit of mount money, Miley? That's what we got to be talking about.
Clay, Miley's other horse come from Alliance Ranches, and Clay won the $100,000 in Utah, and I told Miley, I said, it looks to me like Clay owes you quite a bit of money at this point. But
Clay's working good for Miley right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I do want to compliment you, Miles, because to take a horse like that and to be able to take them from where they were and how, and then have them prepared for a place like the National Finals. Not just everybody can do that.
No,
you know what I mean?
Clay's
It takes me
man.
years of getting one ready to come out here. And I do agree. I think there was times when that mare would get to kind of not just leaving the back of the box straight. She might hesitate, and then she's got a motor under. So when that
roll.
hits, it goes. Yep. And that Clay Smith, he's just up there. His upper body is never unbalanced. His legs might be all over that sucker, right? And he is just always on go, on top of it, got his swing where it's supposed to be. It's incredible to watch because I know you put me up there and I'd maybe look like a bouncing beach ball there for a couple rounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's hard to have that good balance.
So stinking handy. And he can throw in the middle of a horse's stride good too. I've noticed that. Like, you have to have that horse's stride pushing your swing, and he can be in between a stride and send it anyway and catch the horns. He's awesome. And so anyway, like we looked at, they're a little bit long on time, but they have them all caught. So I was thinking, I noticed that before last night, and I'm thinking, man,
what's he going to do?
They're going to protect themselves a little bit and make sure they don't miss. And then they went 3-7.
3-7.
I don't think Clay Smith's going to protect anything.
Way to lay up and be a 3-7, huh?
I don't think Clay Smith's designed to protect anything. Man.
No, he's got
incredible.
some of that Okie in him, too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of try, and he wants to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That guy wants to win, and I love seeing it. It's fun to compete against.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it.
Let's take a look at the money right here, right now. If we turned out the lights right now, this is what it looks like outside of the average. T-Wade, 326,000, 278, 246, 236, 221. Coleman, It's even for you, like in your career coming here. What do you think of those numbers right here in the team roping?
Man, our first question is, where's it all gone? You know, I mean, guy has $250,000 on the board, and you're like, well, I wish I had about half of that back. But no, it's incredible. You know, I think the sport's going the right direction, you know, and I think it starts with all these great committees that are stepping up. And since 2020, when they had an off year, and, you know, they've come back bigger and better than ever. You know, everybody's bounced back better. And, you know, even money in the team roping is now not something that is it's commonplace. You know, it's not something that you search for anymore. These committees are understanding what it takes to get us down the road. And I just want to say a big tip of the hat, because we know it's never fun trying to fundraise, you know, and they do it. They go out and they make these rodeos pay better, and we're able to go make a big living. And it's fun to see, and it's fun to watch. And I'm glad I'm only 90,000 behind. I thought I was more than that.
What about the all-around race? I haven't seen those numbers, but I know Caleb and Junior hadn't had the week they wanted so far, and I didn't know what it's shaped up there.
I know Shad hadn't probably done a lot. I know he's got a good position in the average, and I think
he's second in the average
when everybody
right
starts talking about the all-around race, you know, bottom line is, if I don't win, it's not going to matter, you know?
100%.
So you back in here and you try to win first every night, because, you know, first and foremost, I came here to win a gold buckle in the team roping in the head. And I have a great opportunity to, you know what I mean, to compete with Shad for the all-around, and I'm excited about that. But, you know, we're not padding the lead. We're not trying to protect anything. It's pin your ears back and go fast. And in the next three rounds, if I can be in the top 2 or 3 in the go rounds, and maybe that average comes my way, who knows? You know what I mean? Great things can happen. It's Las Vegas. There's no telling. All I need is a chip and a chair.
That's it. That's it, right? Hey, let's throw the healers up there, too. Kind of the same story right here. Throw some love to these guys. Wesley still on top, then Levi Jr., Logan and Caden down there. Caden having a great finals, $222,000 for that kid.
That's kind of the one you better be looking out. That's the dark horse there. Brenton Hall, Caden Profili.
I'm telling you.
They're raising up in the average. They're winning good every night.
And doing it.
Yeah, that kid's got a great style. You know, I had a guy ask me, we were in a steer open, he said, what do you think of Caden? Think he'll make it this year? It was early on in the year. I said, absolutely. That kid's got a great style. He's going to be successful. He's... You know, it's fun to see those kids with a lot of talent and a great style come to the
Absolutely.
front.
I heard the guys were talking about it, Jeff or Butch. I can't remember. One of the guys the other day was say, man, he's got that Alan Bach look too. You know, he's got the big long arms, big and tall, being able to reach out over the top, over the front of that horse a little bit. It's pretty fun to watch. It's
better hair. He's got better hair.
Better hair.
Let's say that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
hair.
And he keeps that hat on.
I was just going to say he keeps his hat on. So,
you know? Which I got a pretty good mane myself. But it's starting to go the wrong direction. You get 3 kids, that thing takes off, doesn't it?
Oh, man.
Huh?
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Well, brother, I tell you what, man, thanks for coming up and hanging out with us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. I've been wanting to be over here all week, but sorry it's taking me so long.
Yeah, all you got to do is be 3'5".
That's it.
All you got to do is be 3'5".
That's what Stella told me. She said, Daddy, I figured it out. We just got to be 3'5", and that's how we'll win. I said, yes, ma'am, I'll do my best. But did you guys see Dustin 3'2" the other day? And then they just glazed right over that during the rodeo. 3'2" plus 5. Went right on by that. Like, excuse me, that is a world record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anybody
else notice that?
Anybody see that?
It's coming. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's incredible. It's awesome. It's been a fun week. Hey, and I've enjoyed watching you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are great for the sport. You break it down well. Miles, I'm so proud of where you came from riding that motorcycle to riding them high-dollar head horses now. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But I still want you to teach me how to ride the motorcycle, don't get me wrong. And that jump shot.
My wife made me sell it.
My guy's got a heck of a jump shot. Nobody's going to tell you, but he does. If you're ever having to play a pickup basketball game, this is your guy. Okay, you take him and Logan Medlin, you can sit back and watch yourselves win.
That was 20 pounds and 10 years ago.
Oh, man. Hey, Coleman, that comment that you just gave right back at you, thank you for what you're doing on the microphone and doing all the things that you're doing. You know, there's a handful of you guys that, you know, from Joe B. and Luke and you, I mean, you are the guys that are playing the game, that are bringing the game from the arena to the people out there.
100%.
Your sense of humor, your personality, buddy. Thank you for doing what you do, Coleman, because it means a lot to us as fans to have you out, and you're funny as shit all the time.
I wish you'd explain that to my wife. She doesn't always think I'm that funny. So, well, I appreciate it, guys. I got to get rolling, but I appreciate you guys for your time today.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow, everybody, as we have the recap for round number 8. You don't want to miss the replay right here, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. We'll be back tomorrow.